It's the third event of season 4 of A1GP. We're at Sepang in Malaysia, the fourth visit to this circuit. It's one of the regulars on the calendar, and it provides a tremendous test for teams and drivers alike. And we're looking forward to seeing how Ireland and Great Britain get on in particular. Those two will be starting on the front row of the grid. Let's take a look at the grid in a little bit more detail now, running all the way through. So it's Team Ireland on their first ever feature race pole position, and Adam Carroll will be looking to back up the sprint race victory that he had last time out in China and further promote Ireland's chances in the championship hunt. But alongside, they've got Great Britain. Danny Watts showing very well once again. Second row, the surprise, if you like, is Lebanon's Daniel Morad. Faraz Fawzi of Malaysia, the local hero, is next to him. And then you've got Portugal and the Netherlands on row 3. Row 4, India and USA. Let's hope they steer clear of each other. France and China on row 5. Monaco and Brazil on the 6th row, followed by Australia and Indonesia. New Zealand a long way back, they're 15th, just with South Africa. Then Mexico and Italy. And on the back of the grid now, courtesy of a penalty, Neil Yarni of Switzerland. So into the last moments before this race gets underway, and with this tremendous crowd getting ready to cheer on their man, it's time for the ceremonies to begin.
Tanah tumpahnya darahku, rakyat hidup bersatu dan maju. Rahmat bahagia Tuhan kurniakan, Raja kita selamat bertahta.
So the Malaysian anthem is sung, and Faraz Fawzi has thousands of people cheering on his every effort here. We're quite a long way further down the grid here, just looking at South Africa. They got involved in that little incident with Malaysia in the first race, but right back at the real tail end of the grid then here, this is where we are now. Italy down there, didn't qualify particularly well for this one, but there, your winner from earlier on. I wonder how far Neil Yarni can get in this race.
Well, it's a long game, 69 minutes or 34 laps, and Neil Yarni knows that he cannot win this race in the first corner or even in the first lap. So they're going to do things that it's just going to test the strategy of the pit wall as well as the patience of the driver. If he can find easy passes, he will do so. No doubt on the opening lap, he should find it relatively easy to make some progress. But it's not entirely going to be down to Neil Yarni as to where he finishes up here this afternoon.
No, they're going to have to play the strategy as carefully as possible. But up front, there's a major risk that Team Ireland are going to be able to snatch the advantage. We'll have to wait and see. But first of all, we've got to get these engines fired up in the official manner.
Gentlemen, for the pride of your nation, start the engine.
The announcement is given. The Chief Minister of Malaysia gives the word, and the engines are fired up. The little electric motors are plugged into the back of those Ferrari engines, and the V8s up and down the grid start to rumble away, fire up, and we'll be seeing them in action in just a few moments.
Yes, and that noise just bouncing off the pagodas up and down the length of the pit straight and the return straight coming up into turn 15. And what a wonderful sight it is. A great circuit, such an advanced circuit. 10 years now it's been in existence, and it still really is thoroughly modern in every way.
Remember, you can catch up with all of the action at A1GP.com as well. You can see what's going on in terms of the lap times, catch up with all the latest news and gossip as well. So watch it on the internet and keep up with all what's going on in A1GP. We're going to wait to see whether Team Ireland is going to be able to hold on to the advantage they earned in qualifying and take the victory here, but there's got a long, long way to go to find out if that's going to happen. They're about to wave the green flag on the formation lap. Watch for a few interesting practice starts here, John.
Well, pretty good start from Adam Carroll and Team Ireland. Laid a little bit of rubber, but good drive forward, so he can repeat that. He is going to be odds on to get ahead of Danny Watts, who I thought was very cocky indeed the way he was in that interview, so he'll be doing his best to put Ireland under pressure, and then Danny, he dives down the inside. Adam Carroll's got to be careful. You can't shut a door if you've got a car going for that closing gap. Contact will inevitably mean a trip into the pit lane.
So as the cars head off on their formation lap, let's get a little bit of a thought from both our pit lane reporters, starting off with James Hinchcliffe. James, what are your thoughts going into this race? We've seen Neil Yarni dominate the first race, but he now starts right from the back. What can he do from there?
He is going to start from the back, but we saw the incredible pace he had. I mean, he was 10 seconds ahead of second place by the time he crossed the finish line. So you're definitely going to see him move up. You know that James Robinson on pit wall is going to be making some very, very interesting strategy calls. So I think we're going to see some impressive drives through the field, but you're also going to see a great duel between Ireland and GBR right up at the front.
Yeah, I'm dead right with that one. Now, Diana, I know that you've been monitoring the situation at the Malaysian pit throughout the weekend. Do you think Faris Fawzi is going to come back after that little bit of a disaster earlier?
Well, it could possibly happen. I mean, the team have had a few gremlins over the weekend so far, but they seem pretty happy with the setup that they've got for this feature race. And so it will all be down to, the pit stops on what he does out there at the start.
Okay, yeah, thanks very much. He starts fourth, so much better up the grid.
Yeah, but I think the key to the start of this race is going to be what Daniel Murad for Lebanon starts third directly behind Ireland. First time we've had Lebanon on a second row grid start, and that is really the unknown, the unpredictable factor. So what goes on around Lebanon may well have a bearing on those alongside Malaysia or Portugal and the Netherlands behind in the third row.
Lots to watch out for then. We'll try and keep an eye on it all where it happens. It's Adam Carroll that leads them around confidently. He's in a fine vein of form at the moment, is Adam Carroll. He loves this new A1GP car powered by Ferrari. He says it absolutely suits his driving style. He's relishing every second he gets in it.
Well, I think Adam, he's had such a difficult career in many respects, never having full funding, always having to do deals at the last minute. Thumbs up from Katie, so she's looking forward to seeing Danny Watts deliver for Team GBR after the huge disappointment in the sprint race when that ECU, I believe, was the problem, caused the electronic control on the gearbox to malfunction.
Yes, that's right, so very disappointing there, but watch Daniel Morad, as you say, Team Lebanon there at the back. Very unusual to see Team Switzerland right at the very back. Just to remind you, that's a result of penalties applied from the earlier race today.
Here's a history lesson. 1968, Jackie Inkes won Le Mans. He walked at the echelon start. He walked from one side of the track, walked to his car, did his seat belts up. After 24 hours, he won the race. He was last in the first lap by about a minute. He won the race. Now, we've got 69 minutes here. Neil Yarni could do well just to take it easy. If he's got a chance, take it, but don't force the issue.
No, that's right. We'll wait to see what he can do. But Team Switzerland never to be counted out, particularly at this Sepang circuit. Now, Malaysia just waiting to move into line exactly onto their grid position, I think. This is a standing start, remember. So it's all about the hand clutch operation, dropping that clutch at the right moment and getting away well. Adam Carroll on the right for Team Ireland as we look at it there. Great Britain on the left. Now the last few cars just moving up into their allotted grid spaces. It's just taking a moment or two for the last few cars to actually be in position. The starter Peter Riches waits for them all to be where they ought to be, and there's Switzerland, the last of them. The flag from the back. Engine revs begin to rise. Red lights on. Lights out, away we go in Sepang, and it's a good start from Adam Carroll, but Lebanon as well. Poor start from Great Britain. Faris Fawzi from Malaysia has taken advantage. Oh, sweeps across almost into Portugal. You're riding with Switzerland heading down
Daniel
into turn
Moran looking, trying to get up the inside in second place. Portugal third, Malaysia. Danny Watts swamped back in fifth. He got bogged down at the start.
Oh, India off, and so is China going around the outside. Narek Kartikeyan, what a miserable weekend he's having. Ireland leads, Lebanon in second place, Portugal third, and Malaysia fourth, and Switzerland battling to try and pick up some places.
He needs to be careful coming through turn 3, up into turn 4. He's got the pace, he's got the car. Car's fanning out all over the place, diving down the inside. Marco Andretti.
Andretti making a move on France there. Oh, Switzerland's been round. Round goes Switzerland, and the winner from earlier got a touch. It might have been from Indonesia, hard to tell, but round goes Neil Yarni.
And he may well have stole the edge of Neil Yarni, having been... It's all over. He has to be careful.
Yeah, and it hasn't worked out for him, but Adam Carroll's making a break. Danny Watts, who started on the front row, dropped 3 places there, and it's now got to be a damage limitation exercise for a lap or two. Good start by Filipe Guimarães of Brazil. He's gone well from 12th on the grid.
Well, can you believe it?
No.
Win the sprint race, start at the very back. I did say, as Narendra Karthikeyan also looks like India's out of the race as well. He got tagged from behind by China. What a miserable weekend. Safety car is on standby. Adam Carroll down at turn 14 leads this race by, what, a second from Portugal. Daniel Murad third. He's dropped back behind Portugal somewhere on that opening lap.
Great Britain down to 5th. Netherlands are running in 6th place. And behind them we've got USA 7th, France in 8th, then Brazil and China. That's your top 10. And little attack safety car on circuit as Malaysia going on the attack here, trying to get past Lebanon, but he can't quite make it through, I don't think. And as they come across the line, they will be picked up by the safety car. Great reception for Faraz Fawzi as he crosses the line in 4th place. They've never finished on the podium here at Sepang, the host nation. They have had a 4th place finish thanks to Alex Jung before, but certainly Fawzi well positioned at the moment. But everybody backing off as they're picked up by safety car.
Everybody at the start, not surprisingly, used power boost, but Lebanon has used 2. There we see the Swiss car being craned away, and I mean, 1 minute jubilation, next minute, well, bitter disappointment. Love to see what happened. Was Neil tagged, or was he just a little bit too hot into turn 4?
Coming into this race, joined 2nd in the championship. Oh, and Monaco in trouble. Now, maybe he was involved down at that end. I don't know whether he got involved in that incident or a separate one.
Well, he started in the 6th row of the grid 11th, so he technically should have been ahead of Switzerland, maybe just a separate incident.
Now, Neil's looking to, I wonder if there's anyone he's going to gesticulate at. No, he's a fairly laid-back character, but you can't be feeling too happy at the moment. Let's get down. We've got some news on Monaco from Diana. What can you tell us?
Okay, I'm down at Team Monaco, and they seem to be having a bit of a fuel problem on the car. They brought the car back in to check it out, and at the moment they can't tell me any more than that. They're all frantically looking around the car, and hopefully he will be going back out if they can fix that problem.
Thanks, Diana. Well, yeah, so it's not a damage problem, obviously. It's actually more of a technical problem.
Lights go out.
Yep.
Poor start from Danny Watts on the left. Great start from Faraz Fawzi. Another great start. Daniel Murad, absolutely perfect. Almost gets side by side with Ireland coming into turn 1. Portugal goes down the outside, takes that fall. That confirms that 3rd place, with Malaysia trying to get up the inside still.
What happens to India? Oh, contact there. Yeah,
it was as Holland, it was Netherlands actually tagged India, and there was China who had to go the wrong way around, so apologies to Ho Ping Tung. He was an innocent party and all that.
Yeah, you'll see it here. India going around the outside. Watch this. Netherlands straight into... Now, did he get hit?
He may well have been hit by France behind.
Yeah, maybe he got a nudge from Loic Duval. Hard to tell there, but it certainly looked as though the Dutch car suddenly shot out.
Let's see if we can get another view. And no, France is sufficiently away. They're 4 or 5 feet behind, and that was just something... Looked like a bit of oversteer. Car left 3 feet to the left and contact with the India car.
Yeah, so Jeroen Blekemolen maybe just clipped the curb a bit heavily, but it looked like his mistake, and it's taken India out of the race. And well, that's hugely disappointing. What a miserable weekend they've had. They were hit from behind in the sprint race, and not a lot they can do about that. And now they've been knocked sideways in this one.
Yeah, Naren Karthikeyan wasn't particularly happy at the start of the sprint race. That was a slightly separate issue. This one was just simply down to another car driving into the side of Naren Karthikeyan's India car, and that's a poor weekend for India. They'd hoped for much better.
So under safety car, another lap at least behind the safety car before we get the race underway once again. We're just going to take a little look back at what happened to Switzerland here, John. Let's pick it out. Turn 4.
Coming down into turn 4, just turns in. There's no well, did New Zealand have contact or no? I think he just got it wrong.
Yeah, it was hard. New Zealand wasn't that close turning in, was he? Let's have another
look
look
again and see. He's turning. This is on the opening lap. This is coming down into turn 13 and turn 14 on the opening lap, running behind Australia. So the Australia car would just, in fact, coming through turn 3 down into turn 4. So now look and see, nobody close to him on either side, and then suddenly, simply just maybe too much throttle too early in the corner.
Yeah, maybe. It certainly wasn't obvious that anybody hit him, so it may have been a mistake by Yanni. Desperate, of course, to make up places as quickly as possible. It always puts pressure on a driver in that situation. Very difficult to read. Whether he got a helping hand, whether he had a little tap from somebody. You mentioned New Zealand. They're down in 15th place, of course, because they had to start pretty much towards the back after qualifying low down in yesterday's session. So Earl Bamber, who was on the podium earlier today, of the podium finishers that we had earlier, the best placed one is now Team France in 8th place. So Loic Duval, there he is, just coming through the shot. He's the best placed of the earlier successful nations. But further back, there's Earl Bamber for Team New Zealand running in 15th. Mexico at the back at the moment because we've got Monaco into the pit. Safety car still out there and still in the very, very early stages of this race, of course. Some way to go even before we get into the first pit stop window. Lights are out though, I notice, I think, as the Ferrari heads around. And yeah, so we will get... Oh no, the lights are still on, sorry, I was watching from the wrong angle there. So the lights are still on. We're looking for the car to remain out there for a little bit longer. Team Netherlands coming through. Jeroen Bleekemolen, his car doesn't seem to have been affected by that little nudge with India on the opening lap, so he's running in 6th place. Team USA did well, moving into 7th position, so there was a bit of a battle with them and France, and it looked as though Marco Andretti did get the advantage. Safety car will be coming in once we get round to the end of the lap. Team GBR have got a bit of work to do to make up for the start there, and as they come down the back straight, yes, the lights are out this time, and we are getting all set for a restart.
So it's all in the hands of Team Ireland. Adam Carroll, he will decide at what point he wants to go. No doubt they will all, the first four, six will be on power boost once again as they come down onto start-finish straight.
So on the power boost as well, Team Ireland beginning to ease away already, and it's Malaysia versus Lebanon that we're keeping an eye on here. That's the battle for third. The red and white colours of Lebanon definitely under pressure. The bright yellow car of Malaysia trying to go around the outside. Oh, it's a great move by Fauzi.
Yeah, well, down Lebanon, they were early on the brakes, gave Fauzi the easy opportunity on the outside of the corner to brake that little bit later. Daniel Murad did the right thing. He didn't go eyeball to eyeball with Faris Fauzi. He thought longer and better of that particular situation.
Fauzi is fired up, there's no doubt about it. He's up into 3rd place now.
Danny Watts trying to find a way past Lebanon as well into turn 4. Not far enough up alongside.
And he's got Jeroen Bleekemolen breathing down his neck as well. Oh, the slide there. Did Danny get alongside?
He did. I think that's the... But there they are, side by side into 6th. Again, Danny Watts, Team GBR has got to come back in behind the Lebanese car.
Definitely. Daniel Morad seems to be struggling for pace just a little bit here. Here comes Danny Watts. He's going to go for the inside. He's squeezing. Oh, no, he can't do it. But now Lebanon runs wide. They're both off track.
And watch the cars. Netherlands goes past. Team USA alongside as well.
Oh, it's all gone wrong for Danny Watts now, and France also about to go through. Brazil trying to make it 3 abreast. Surely no way. Front wing's gone. No surprise. Danny Watts, front wing broken, and it's getting from bad to worse for Great Britain.
Well, all that control I thought that Daniel Murad had. You could see how aggressive it got coming into turn 7 and turn 8. Danny Watts, big time loser out of that, going to have to go back into the pits. And again, a disappointment for Team GBR here in Malaysia.
That is such a shame. It looks as though they were going to have a great dice, and so it's really jostled things around a bit. He's got New Zealand closing up. Look at the damage on the front end. He's got to be in the pits next time around. Green flags all waving, still on the first lap after safety car. That's why the green flags are waving. But he's in big trouble. He's about to be eaten alive here by those cars behind him. Italy coming through. New Zealand's going to go for a move down the inside as well. And Great Britain heading into the pits, surely. Yes, there we go.
With all the excitement going on, Earl Bamber really has not made a huge amount of progress. Currently in 15th place. He's had a grandstand view of what's been going on ahead of him. Now he's got to get his head down and try and find a way to get up to the tail of Italy, Australia, South Africa to get into the points.
Oh, Brazil at the inside of Lebanon there. I noticed France. What's happened to France? They've gone very slowly. Something. Oh,
rear, left rear.
There's
a suspensions failure.
He
hit somebody.
Yeah, it was him, I think. I think it was his rear tyre on the front wing of Great Britain, where they went 3 abreast into turn 9.
Yeah, 3 into turn 9 does not work. And of course everybody tripping over everybody frustrated, particularly Danny Watts and Daniel Murad. It was an aggressive move by Daniel Murad into turn 7 and 8 to block Team GBR. That set off a chain of events that culminated down in turn 9 with GBR and France in the pits with damaged cars.
So it's Ireland, Portugal, Malaysia, then the Netherlands and USA running 5th. Good drive this from Marco Andretti. He's picking up some places. Lebanon's dropped to 6th, China up to 7th, Brazil in 8th, South Africa 9th and Australia 10th. As Danny waits for that nose cone to be replaced. They're checking underneath, checking the suspension as well to ensure it's safe to send him out. Meanwhile, Loic Duval's got a new tyre, so he's on his way. Let's hear from Diana, who's at Team GBR. Diana.
To put the new nose cone on, obviously not branded, but that's the one they'll use. They're just checking the front of the car, fixing the nose cone in the front wing right now, and hopefully he will be back out on track fairly soon, but clearly lost an awful lot of time.
Thanks, Diana. Yeah, it's really ended any chance, I would think, of getting points here today. Ireland pulling away. Quick lap from Adam Carroll last time around, and he's easing further into the distance here with Portugal. Winners last time out. The two battled hard, and they're first and second in this race. A little lock-up from Malaysia, but he recovers it quite well. Now watch behind. This is looking exciting. Australia and Italy together. Australia, the yellow and green colours, and Italy trying to go around the outside.
Well, there's going to be a closing gap as Team Australia sweeps out to the outside of the corner. So it was an idea, just be there, but inevitably you're going to have to back out.
Yeah, that was not going to be on. South Africa, meanwhile, also trying to make a move on Brazil here. Adrian Zaug down the inside, and he has taken 8th place.
Adrian is going to be a lot more purposeful when it comes to overtaking than Felipe Gomares. But slow into turn 2. Gomares almost overrunning him at one point into turn 2, down the hill now. And we're just going to see South Africa pull away from Brazil very easily.
Netherlands under investigation for something or other, so have to keep an eye on that one. But Ireland very much the race leader, 1.2 seconds ahead. Looking back at that 3 abreast action, John, this is where the nose got clipped.
Yeah, you got Brazil down the inside, France on the outside. It's a pincer movement. Contact, Danny Watts nowhere to go as France closed the door, and of course France couldn't go any more to the left because Brazil was there. Here we see the incident. You can't see Brazil on the left of the picture, but there it is, the front wheel coming into play. There's the pin, there's them just being pinched. Enough to knock the nose off GBR, enough to cut or slice through the Michelin Tower of France.
Very unfortunate, but Great Britain on circuit once again with that uncoloured new nose cone, so he's on his way, but right at the back of the field. France a bit further up, they've made a fairly quick pit stop, and he's setting some quick sector times now, is Loic Duval. I think we might see a real charge coming from the Frenchman, but how far he can get is another matter. Meanwhile, the fastest lap so far belongs to the race leader, Adam Carroll, looking for Ireland's second win of the season, but a long, long way to go in this race as yet. We've had 5 laps and we're coming around to complete lap 6 this time.
So pit stop window opens up on lap 8, they're coming up to complete 6, go on to lap 7. So I suspect some people are already getting ready for that first round of pit stops.
Big slide from Australia there. John Martin just about gathered it up as he got a bit twitchy under braking. New Zealand beginning to put a bit more pressure on Italy. That is for 11th place as New Zealand desperately try and climb the order. So of our podium finishes earlier, it's now New Zealand best place to them, but still down in 12th.
Yeah, it's a case of just bide your time, wait for the opportunities. New Zealand running right behind Italy. Ought to be able to put something on Italy because the pace New Zealand have got, their qualifying pace and their general race pace. Up into turn 4, an opportunity, but currently not close enough to Italy to put a move on.
No, not quite yet, so still keeping the pressure on. Earl Bamber there, the youngster, in behind Eduardo Piscopo of Italy, who was in the points in the sprint race. Earl Bamber himself finished in 3rd place, of course, and there you've got the onboard telemetry showing us the throttle and brake traces as they come through this very fast section of track. And Bamber's raced here quite a few times despite his youth, because a lot of his racing has taken place in the Asian Championship. So he knows it well. The question is, can he find an overtaking spot that might surprise Eduardo Piscopo? Not close enough, I would say, as they come down to turn 9. We've seen 1 or 2 moves here, both this weekend and in the past, but he's not close enough. He actually overruns almost a bit too quick into the corner there and loses another length.
So just be patient, long way to go, 28 laps. They've got some 54 and a half minutes of this race remaining. Ireland, that gap around about 1.5 seconds, 1.2 as they came across the line. Again, Portugal only ever using 1 power boost so far. They haven't used it, and they all restarted after that safety car intervention. So Philippe Albuquerque using the thought that he's done so successfully in the past, and holding on to as many power boosts as he can.
China getting a bit out of shape there. He wasn't really close enough to attack Lebanon, but he's getting a little closer. And I think that was more of a mistake than anything, but Ho Pin Tong sorted it out pretty well. He's in the points at the moment in 7th place. South Africa behind in 8th, but there's a bit of a gap back to South Africa, who's eased away from the Brazilian Felipe Guimarães. Then the Australian car of John Martin. Then still Italy and New Zealand engaged in their own private tussle. And Piscopo definitely having to work a bit harder to keep the Black Beauty behind.
Well, let's look and see what Italy are going to do, because I think New Zealand is slightly closer as they went into turn 1 than on previous occasions. So is Bamber for New Zealand going to have the chance to do something here as we go on to lap 8?
Yeah, up to turn 4. Not close enough. That's one of the major overtaking opportunities. But again, Earl Bamber's not quite close enough. So the Italian car is pretty quick in a straight line. They're obviously not running a huge amount of wing. He's able to escape. Through there is a bit wide, wasn't he, Piscopo?
Well, if you're running a less wing than your competitors, I imagine New Zealand's got comparably more. So the downside is the Italy car slides around, and that then means that New Zealand, who are quicker, have got to come out of it because they can't pass in the middle of turn 5 or 6.
No, that's right. But it's helping Italy at the moment, because at the end of the straights, he's just got that little bit of a margin he needs to prevent Earl Bamber getting alongside under braking. Just looking at the power boosts available to those two, they're both on the same. They're both used 2 so far, but they're maybe saving up for a little later on in the race before they go on the attack with that power boost system once again. On board with Mexico here, He's running in 13th place, is David Garza. Very fast. He set the fastest time of the day on Saturday morning in free practice. Did a pretty good job in sprint race qualifying. Not such a good job in feature race, but that was partly because they'd used a new set of tyres for Saturday morning. But nonetheless, keep an eye on David. He's a pretty solid performer.
In the meantime, France has the fastest race lap, 1 minute 51.180. So again, that single point available to whoever can get that one quick lap over the duration.
Yes, France some 50 seconds behind Indonesia thanks to that earlier pit stop. Now, as they come across the line, that is 8 laps completed. The pit window is open from the next lap around, and now looking down into the pit lane, there are several crews preparing now for pit stops to be made,
including the host nation Malaysia, waiting for Faris Fawzi, currently in 3rd place, 3.1 seconds behind Ireland, and there is the Malaysian team.
Quick reminder, Australia had the fastest pit stop earlier today. New Zealand, though, had the 2nd fastest stop, and they were also very quick in China. Now, what New Zealand need here is a fast stop, get them past Italy at least, maybe even gain another one. But then, of course, it's Australia that they're battling next, and Australia are usually fast in the
Netherlands
pit.
also preparing, so running in 4th place currently. Jeroen Bleekemolen 1.2 seconds behind Malaysia, so a good pit stop for the Netherlands could get them that little bit closer to Malaysia.
Yeah, look how close USA is there. Marco Andretti is also very tight in behind the Dutch car.
Yes, these 3 cars running approximately at the same lap time, so it ebbs and flows marginally, just depending who's had a good exit out of one particular corner, who's had a slightly poorer one.
Lebanon still running in 6th place. Daniel Morad, who just lost out a little bit in that real encounter with Great Britain, and it's settled down. It doesn't look as though he's got any damage on his car, despite being a part of that sort of group that all were fighting for position. Now then, watch for them coming into the pits then. As they come down to turn 15, if they're going in the pits, they'll come off a tangent to take the pit lane entry, and then of course it's flat out into the first part and then speed limit for the second.
I know Malaysia's coming in because there they are, and Netherlands, are they going to come in or not? I can't tell whether, yeah, they are.
Race leader stays out, Portugal
and USA,
stays out.
I think, comes in as well.
Interesting, so Ireland and Portugal, they stay out, but the 3rd place car of Team Malaysia does come in, so all the fans are standing up now to see how this pit stop goes. Netherlands in, as you mentioned, other nations also coming in to the pits on this one. So, battle in the pit lane then, let's see what happens. Good overhead shot there as the crew goes to work. They have to stay in the pit garage until the car has stopped outside, and it looks pretty good for Malaysia.
13.7 seconds, what can the Netherlands do? Come out directly behind, they didn't quite get it done, 12.2 seconds. I knew that if they made a quick stop, they might have just sneaked it, but all they've done now is come out on the gearbox. But we can't respect Jeroen Bleekemolen is to, again, think about using power boost. Well, how many shots has he got?
Now, Lebanon didn't have a particularly good stop there, Team USA, but China had a fantastic stop. China have managed to get ahead of USA, get ahead of Lebanon as well, and Team China have delivered brilliantly.
So back on track, can the Netherlands do anything? They've got 7 power boost shots remaining, but Faris Fawzi's too far down the road. How did he get that amount of gap? Okay, it's a wide angle shot, it's not actually as far in distance as it appears on screen, but nonetheless, he's allowed Malaysia to escape.
Yeah, Team Ireland still leading. I wonder if we'll see them in this time around, or they're going to leave them out that little bit longer.
Clear track, but will stay out as long as your lap times are good. 1 minute 51.5. He and France are the consistently quickest cars on track. Danny Watts, by the way, also doing a good job running in the mid 151s. Ireland not showing any indication they can wait until lap 16 before they come in, and we're on currently lap 10.
So now, 2nd place man, Portugal comes in. So Philippe Albuquerque brings it into the pits as Adam Carroll from Ireland stays out there. So the Portuguese crew that did such a great job in Chengdu, of course, and were part and parcel of that successful run to the win in the feature race in China, now have got to do the job once again. And what they're aiming to do here more than anything is to make sure they maintain the advantage over Malaysia.
I think what Ireland's going to do is, because they've gotten the lead, because of the pace that they've got, they're hoping that the majority of the field will come in and make their stop before Ireland comes in. Therefore, when Ireland goes back out, he's not going to be confronted by other slower cars who yet have got to make their pit stop, and therefore he will gain overall. It's a gamble, you never know what's going to happen. We could have another safety car intervention, and all those plans and strategy could be for nothing.
12.4, pretty quick stop for Portugal. So that brings Philippe Albuquerque back out on circuit. Malaysia has already gone through, and just watching this. No, there is Malaysia, so no, yeah, he comes out well ahead of Malaysia and the Netherlands, so that's pretty much as it was. He had that advantage over Malaysia before the stops. China, though, the one that really gained an advantage, being hounded by Marco Andretti of Team USA.
Yes, and directly behind is Daniel Murad for Lebanon. Marco Andretti, again, very angry. He knows how to restart races. That's what he does all his life, racing in USA. Now, on the gear, well, not quite in the gearbox, but getting close to the gearbox of Team China. The run-up into turn 4. This is what Marco Andretti is here to do, to learn to race on proper racetracks.
He's
not
down
just
the
around
inside.
the oval.
He's done it. He's overshot the corner, and here comes Hopintonga back at him. But Andretti has the inside line for the left-hander, side by side. China gets him back.
Good racing, clean racing by all two drivers. And Daniel Murad, he's sniffing. I want a bit of that. I want Marco Andretti's place.
Yeah, he wants to claim that scalp, but he's not quite close enough there. And Marco Andretti's going to have to think it through again. It was a great attempt. He just carried a bit too much speed into the corner here, John.
So here we come up the hill, hard on the brakes. Just too quick, overruns the corner. The switchback, China almost nicked the front wing end plate on the rear tyre. Again, side by side, Marco Andretti's got it done and dusted.
Oh, great stuff. He went around the outside, and now Daniel Morat's going to try and follow him. He can't do it. Well, we saw Jeroen Blekemolen go around the outside at turn 9. Marco Andretti has repeated the trick, and right in behind them as well. Looks like Australia. Take a look at this one, John.
Courageous move, but Marco knows no fear. And he's done the job, he's got the position back, and he's done it as quickly as possible. He's not allowed himself to fall back into the pace of China and therefore lose momentum. Now what? Lebanon, they're going to have a pop one way. He goes to the right, cuts back to the left, trying to unsettle Hopington, but isn't far enough up.
Can't quite do it. Ireland still leads this race. South Africa in second, not having stopped yet. Then Brazil running third, yet to make their stop as well. But this is the battle we're really enjoying at the moment between China and Lebanon. Currently this is for 10th place, but remember still to see a few guys come into the pit, so it'll actually be for around 6th place. New Zealand rejoin! Oh my goodness, he almost ran into the Australian car.
And he overran and almost put himself into jeopardy by losing another position.
My goodness, that was close. Oh, Bamba, desperate to try and gain as much advantage, but what it has done is got him ahead of Italy, remember, who he was dicing with earlier.
Yeah, he does not want to fall behind Italy, but in doing so, that was as close a call as you can get. So now he's got his eyes lasered into the back of the Team Australia, so the usual battle we're familiar with, Australia versus New Zealand.
Take a look at this as he joined again, John.
Yes, has to make sure he doesn't cross that white line, and oh, how close can you get? I mean,
wow.
That was courageous, almost foolhardy, but he got away with it. I think he just clipped the line, but he's allowed to clip it. He didn't go over that pit line that demarcates the exit of the pit lane from the racetrack.
Yeah, certainly that shot probably made it look worse than it was, but even so, it was pretty scary.
Ireland
now
getting ready, so coming in on the 13th lap.
He is in, so the first pit stop of the day for Team Ireland. Can they keep it clean and smooth and retain the lead of this race? That's what they're aiming to do. Still waiting for South Africa, Brazil and Mexico to come in.
Drive-through penalty for Team Netherlands. Just come up on our timing and scoring screens. 9.9 seconds. Sub-10 second pit stop, fantastic Ireland.
Yeah, and these guys are coming down the back stretch. He's going to be out on circuit well ahead of Portugal.
That's why I thought once Ireland had the lead, had the pace, had the control. But hold on a second, he's still a long way down the pit lane. He can only wait till he gets there. He's on it now. So Adam Carroll back on track, fresh set of tyres, in control of this race.
Total control at the moment. Drive-through penalty for Team Netherlands, as you mentioned. That's going to be a real blow. And we can find out why, I gather, from Diana. Diana, what can you tell us?
Yes, I'm down at Team Netherlands here in the pit lane, and they've got the drive-through penalty, as you know, but they've got no idea why, so they're absolutely furious on the pit wall.
Okay, well, I'm just gathering from our other sources that it was for causing an avoidable collision. That must have been the incident with India at the start, I suppose.
Yes, I mean, it would be nice that we get a notification of precisely what this drive-through penalty is for. Somewhat late in the race, with skirts into the 13th lap. Anyway, they've got a penalty, and it's been decided to penalise them with the drive-through. Frustration, Jeroen Blekemolen in a battle with Malaysia, so he'll be very unhappy. Yeah,
I mean, they're effectively in 4th place, aren't they, once you take the pit stops into account, so it's a huge blow for the Netherlands. Yeah. USA coming through.
In fairness, if it is for that unavoidable incident, or that avoidable incident, I should have said, with India, then it is a justified penalty. It's just sometimes we get the information on the screen, it doesn't actually tell us what it was for, the offence, whether it was for a speed lane, speeding, or an incident or non-incident on the track.
So, out of turn 9, Australia now keeping the pressure on China. For the moment, this is for 9th place, but we're still waiting for South Africa, Mexico, and Brazil. No, Brazil just have been in, so it's only South Africa who have just come into the pits as I speak. And then it's just Mexico we're waiting for to make their first pit stop of the day.
In the meantime, Portugal have become the fastest car on the circuit. They've got fastest lap on lap 12.
Yeah, that's interesting, but of course there's a big gap between Portugal and Ireland in the effective battle for this race win. So Felipe Albuquerque getting on with it. John Martin just dodging around in the slipstream there of Hope in Tongue, but not close enough to attack, I think.
No, and he got close as usual, and now he's going to go look the other way. Comes out of turn 15, gets in the slipstream on power boost, 3 shots remaining, so pulls up alongside. That's the benefit of another 45 horsepower. That's the difference in power boost here. Normally at 60, South Africa comes out, so they've managed to get back into this battle, and more importantly, they're leading it.
Yeah, they have done pretty well. That was a good stop by South Africa, I think. They've got them out ahead of Australia and China, and that could be absolutely crucial in the final accounting here. A very good effort by South Africa getting out just ahead, but Australia also getting the place from China, and in fact John Martin going on the attack immediately here. But remember, Zhao may well he's obviously got fresher tyres. If they're new tyres, that will give him a big advantage.
Well, certainly John Martin has got the pace right now. Adrian Zhao not quite as quick as one would expect coming out of the pits with fresh tyres. These tyres are preheated, so it's not as if you're coming out on tyres that are at a lower than ambient temperature.
Zhao now, I think, has just about got himself fully up to speed. It's going to be that much harder for John Martin. France making their pit stop. Of course, they had an extra pit stop earlier on to change a tyre, so France way down the order at the moment. Beginning to close up a little bit though on Indonesia. He's dropped back having had the pit stop, so we'll have to see later in the race if he's actually able to pick any of them off. He could do with a safety car, to be honest, because that would bunch them all up together.
I think we could all do with a safety car. Of course, we don't want to have a TV safety car. We only want it to be deployed if there's a genuine reason.
Absolutely right. Well, South Africa's Adrian's out there with Australia, then China, Brazil in these silver colours with the green and yellow day glow flashes, and then Lebanon further down than earlier in the race, and certainly they're one of the losers, if you would like to say. I think they had a slowish pit stop there.
Fastest lap back to Ireland, and the battle between Portugal and Ireland just under 5 seconds, the differential first to second, and we saw those two battle in Chengdu 2 weeks ago.
And as I speak, Netherlands just doing their drive-through penalty, by the way, at the moment. And Brazil's just got past China. That's for 9th place. But China's coming back at Brazil, trying to return the favour. And he's got an advantage, but no, Brazil on the inside line there says, I'm going to stay here.
Yes, good driving by Felipe Ramirez. He knew the China car potentially could break later into turn 1 because he's the wider angle into the corner. But as long as you can just modulate the brake and keep that car alongside you, he's not going to be able to do anything around the outside. The long way round is the wrong way round. Yeah, absolutely, and still some defensive work going on. Now, with Netherlands having made their drive-through, tell you what, USA are now up into an effective 4th place. Mexico have made their pit stops, so now it is Ireland leading this race once everyone's stopped. Portugal 2nd, Malaysia 3rd, USA now 4th, ahead of South Africa, ahead of Australia, because they were next up. And so we'll get that full order when they come around next time. This is proving to be a bit of a demonstration drive at the moment from Adam Carroll, who's got a 4.4 second advantage. But the reason it is because the team did the work where it counted in the qualifying for the feature race, and they used that pole position to their advantage. They ran late into the first pit stop window. Mark Gallagher, seat holder, 14 mile over. By the way, on the nose of this car, the name Theodore Racing, in honour of Teddy Yip. It is Teddy Yip Jr. who is a senior partner, seat holder in the Team Ireland operation. Theodore Racing, many of you will remember it from the days of Macau and also in the days of Formula One. A great entrepreneur and supporter of motorist sport. Yeah, great to see that name back in top-level motorsport once again. Across the line goes Malaysia. So Faraz Fawzi still holding on to 3rd place, and then we're waiting for the 4th place car to cross the line. Just looking out of the window, it is USA, but he's a long way back, just crossing the line now, so it's a big gap, 11 seconds between Malaysia and Marco Andretti for USA. South Africa is 5th, ahead of Australia 6th, Brazil in 7th, so this is that group. They're all fighting from 5th downwards. Yeah, I mean, you've got a chain of cars really about 6-8 seconds covering this battle with New Zealand, others ahead just behind. So it catches up to the tail of the Lebanese car coming through turn 1, then down through turn 2. Earl Bamber looking to line up his New Zealand car and try and get up and alongside, but under acceleration, the gap once again is opening. Yeah, it is. Lebanon running 9th, New Zealand in 10th place. Italy still in the battle there as well, looking to take advantage. Earl Bamber's going to have to find something else. Danny Watts is a lap down for Great Britain. He's in that group
but he is a lap down, so he's actually down in 16th position. France is still running 15th, and they're some 33 seconds off the back of the next best, which is now the Dutch car, having had that drive-through penalty. Oh, there's a mistake from Lebanon, and through goes New Zealand.
Yes.
That was Daniel Morat's mistake, and Alabama took
Two cars
advantage.
go through, so that was part of the racetrack that we saw that incident earlier with Team GBR. Again, catches out Lebanon.
It's amazing how quick. It was just a tiny mistake, and suddenly the car runs a moment wide.
Well, as I said in the track analysis, turns 7 and 8, they don't look particularly tricky corners. Well, it's half the racetrack away from the apex, so he was too quick in, didn't get the speed off, had to do the long way around, paid the penalty, and it's inexperienced speed. Oh, he ran the curb as well, and that also caused the car to lose a little bit of grip in the rear, have to come out of the throttle. New Zealand slides through, and another 2 positions lost for Lebanon.
That brings New Zealand up into 9th position. Yeah, 2 places drop means he's out of the points. Now Fauzi for Malaysia's in the pits, John. Why would Malaysia? He's got his hand in the air. It's all problems for Malaysia. I'm looking from our commentary box window. You're looking on board the car. What has gone wrong for Malaysia?
Well, he's pulled in.
He's gone again.
Gesticulated, and then he goes again. Well, we've got 2 reporters in the pit lane. I think they'll be racing to get down to find out what was the cause of that.
I can't understand that at all. There was no reason for him to come in.
Sometimes you do get miscommunications over radio traffic. Whether that's what happened or whether there's another factor, hopefully we'll get that information to you as quickly as possible.
Let's get down to Diana and see if she can find out what's going on. Diana.
Well, Ben, I'm down here at the garage inside to ask the guys what happened, and they said they've absolutely no idea. He's just come in, they were not ready for any pit stop, and he's gone straight back out again.
Can't believe it. Well, it is so bizarre. I saw the car coming down pit lane and wondered what that was about.
Well, he's in the pits. I mean, sitting there. What's going on?
Engineer Alan Muggleston says, what are you doing here? Go on, get out. And well, as you say, it must have been a miscommunication. It's the only thing I can imagine.
Well, I mean, it has happened at many times in many events where radios go AWOL. Whether that's been the case here or not, I don't know. But certainly Faraz Fauzi has blown any opportunity to give the home crowd the cheer by getting onto the podium. He was in a comfortable 3rd place. He was somewhat 11 seconds behind Portugal in 2nd, but 6 seconds ahead of USA in 4th.
Yeah, so USA, Marco Andretti is in 3rd place in only his 3rd A1GP race, and suddenly looking pretty exciting from his point of view, but for poor Malaysian fans in front of us in the commentary box, they can't work it out either. They're looking just as dumbfounded as I feel. There is a second pit stop to come in this race. I'm not saying there isn't one. There's a second pit stop, but it doesn't come for a few laps yet. The pit window doesn't open up for how many laps is it, John?
Lap 20 to 28, so we've completed on the 18th lap. It's going to open up in a couple of laps' time. It's not far away, but it stays open until lap 28 of 34 laps, so it could be another late stop for Ireland. As long as they don't have traffic, they don't catch up to the tail enders, I think they're going to do what they did in the first pit stop window and stay. But New Zealand battle with this. China again down into turn 1.
Yeah, China trying everything there to get past the Black Beauty, but he couldn't do it. In fact, I think it was the other way around. I think New Zealand had just passed China. That's what it is. And China was trying to come back at him. New Zealand up to 7th now. So again there for New Zealand. And they're trying to chase after Brazil. On board with Malaysia. And he's dropped all the way to 14th. So this is how
it's
it
coming into
began.
turn 15. This is the into turn 15. Goes late on brakes, but managed to keep the car on sort of half the line, but sweeps around the outside. Hoping Tung really, I think it was a bit generous. Could have been a harder day for Earl Bamber. Ireland continuing on. The only car really running in the 1 minute 50s. Portugal now doing similar lap times. Gap 5.2 seconds. I mean, Adam Carroll's having to run at this pace because that's the pace that Portugal, they're forcing Ireland to be honest here this afternoon.
Yeah, Portugal fast, as you say, very similar lap times. You can see Philippe Albuquerque in the background. Okay, the gap's 5 seconds, but you need a poor pit stop and it could all change.
All you need is another safety car.
Indeed, another safety car, and it all opens up the possibilities. So USA running in 3rd, but that is the gap. You're waiting all the time. That's what we're waiting for here, to see the American car. There it is. So that he could do with a safety car as well. But Marco Andretti running in 3rd ahead of South Africa in 4th, Australia in 5th, and then it is Brazil. Great to see Brazil running so well up after all their problems here this weekend. And then New Zealand in 7th position, just a bit further down the order.
Well, I mean, great to see 2 cars that were taken out in that sprint race debacle at the start, the rolling start. Marco Andretti running strongly. 3rd place.
Yeah,
And further down the field, Brazil in sixth. 2 cars that were heavily damaged, being repaired, running competitively.
nice to see that the rear wing still featuring the Korea sparkling banner on the back of it, because Korea helping out USA. Oh, look at this. Netherlands trying to gain back some of the lost ground on their drive-through, going past Indonesia. Or is he? Yes, he is.
Yeah, that's going to happen. Indonesia wasn't going to make a big issue out of it. The momentum being with Jeroen Bleekemolen in the Netherlands and Satrio Amanta, for Indonesia deciding, okay, I'll show you my nose, they're not going to squeeze.
New fastest lap for France once again, all the way down in 15th place. Below Duval showing what he could have done. Mexico! Oh, Mexico's lost it, trying to go past Indonesia.
I thought he was going to take Indonesia.
Or Lebanon, he's trying to get past Lebanon, sorry.
It certainly looked like he was going to take that car out as he lost under brakes, going down the inside of the corner. It is dirty there, you cannot brake quite so late as you would do in the race line.
Oh, that's a shame. At least he hasn't stalled the engine. Unlike Neil Yarni, of course, who went off there at the very early stages of this race, trying to fight his way up from the back of the order.
So look, dives on the inside, gets, just not quite up to the mid of the car. Around she goes, and you don't get any closer than that without contact. But what a good job getting his hand on those hand clutches, pulling first or second gear. Drop the clutch, here's again the head-on view. Under brakes, rear brakes just marginally locking up and turning at the same time.
Yep, and round she went, but as you say, he kept the engine running and he was quick to get out of the way once more. So David Garza is there again. Let's take a look at it from the onboard.
Okay, running behind, so comes up. Does he get, where does he get to? I think he gets to about this, no, he doesn't even get near to the level of the rear wheel.
But Morad was aware, he actually gave him a bit of space, he didn't turn in for his apex, he obviously saw something coming.
Well, he suspected there was something coming. He did a good job, he gave that little bit of space to allow himself to get through the corner, otherwise it would have been contact.
Philippe Albuquerque running strongly in second position here, and this is turning out to be a solid start to the season from Team Portugal, particularly with that victory last time out in Chengdu. That first win is often the harbinger of some more good results, and it seems to be the case here for Team Portugal. They've been solid all weekend in both qualifying sessions, and they're still keeping that pressure on Ireland, even though the gap is still opening up a bit.
It's opening up by a few tenths. I mean, literally the last lap Ireland did a 50.4, that's their personal best. 50.9 on the last lap for Portugal, so there's a tenth here, a tenth there. Ireland needs to keep this pressure up because you just have no idea. 15 laps of this race remaining, just under 30 minutes.
Yep, still some way to go, and the guys will be looking forward to the second pit stops relatively soon. 19 laps completed, as you say, and the window opens on lap 20, so we're not far off some more pit lane action here. Meanwhile, Great Britain's still going round. Another quick lap from Danny Watts, but he's a lap down, as I mentioned, after that incident earlier on where he lost the front wing as they all tried to go 3 abreast into turn 9. He'd made a poor getaway, but was trying to fight his way back through the order, and it all turned to dust, I'm afraid. Whereas his great friend and rival, Adam Carroll here, he's had a very clear run so far. From pole position, Adam is in charge of this race by nearly 6 seconds. It's a 5.9 to be exact, as they cross the line this time.
Yeah, times, almost identical lap times to the thousandth of a second. So Portugal, Philippe Albuquerque, he drove that such a strong race in Chengdu, and again repeating that performance. And he's the only nation right now in the circuit, along with Ireland, that are running at a pace. The others are running the best part of 1 to 1.5 seconds, a lap slower than the 2 leading cars.
Then it's USA running 3rd, South Africa 4th. You're watching them now with Australia, the yellow and green colours, the Jackaroo in 5th place, Brazil in 6th, New Zealand in 7th. Not closing up that much, he's a little quicker. Now what's going on here? Netherlands trying to get past Lebanon. The Netherlands going around the outside. Jeroen Bleekemolen desperately trying to hold on.
But he isn't going to, Lebanon's not going to concede. Indonesia did, but Lebanon is not going to concede. Daniel Murad is very, very feisty.
He is, but Jeroen Bleekemolen feels he's got nothing to lose, I would think, after running so strongly in the early part of this race. He could have been in 3rd place now if he hadn't had that drive-through.
A lot of people could have been in 3rd place. Danny Watts for Team GBR could have been in 3rd place. France probably could have been in 3rd place. But ifs, ands or buts aren't going to get the results.
Nope, you've got to be there and you've got to avoid all the incidents. He did have that clash with India on the opening lap. There's Team USA then, Marco Andretti, with the Andretti Green Racing team looking after the operation in only their second full event with this car, and having rebuilt it after the accident earlier. This is remarkable, and he's got a brand new set of tyres.
Yeah, he needs them because South Africa is still so close. 1.8 seconds, and Adrian Zaug, he can see the back of the Team USA car. Once you sense that you've got the car within your grasp, that's the incentive you need.
Still watching from the back of the Lebanon car, Daniel Morad trying to protect that position from the Netherlands. In fact, they're in the points here, you know, so this is well worth Netherlands fighting for, because Jeroen Blekemolen knows if he can get past the Lebanon car, then he will be in the points again.
A little bit of understeers, he comes into the corner, under brakes, see the car sliding under power out, so the run all the way up. Netherlands on power boost, they've got some available. He's coming, watch the Lebanon car dive one way, no, he stays on the right hand side of the track. Can he go through on the inside? Well, Lebanon's going into the pits, and what's it done to Netherlands?
Netherlands with Jeroen Blekemolen.
I tell you, it was a smart bit of driving by Daniel Morad for Lebanon.
Yeah, but he was probably called in anyway, wasn't he? But he made the most of it.
Yeah, but he sold him a dummy.
Yeah,
he sold him a dummy.
Clever stuff from Daniel Morad. Into the pits come quite a few cars. New Zealand at the front of the queue. USA, crucial stop for Marco Andretti. These guys are very used to pit stops and they get him away cleanly. There was a slight hiccup, but actually it was a quick stop. 11.6, not the fastest.
I think that was quicker than 11.6 because he was rolling before the clock stopped, and I would say that was nearer to sort of mid-10, but nonetheless, good stop for Team USA. Get their man back out. They have to get out ahead of South Africa.
Yeah, New Zealand have gained there, I'm sure. That was a very quick stop by the New Zealand crew once again. Italy and Lebanon continue on their way. Malaysia, of course, having made the extra stop for unknown reasons earlier on, now have done their proper stop and they rejoin. There's the lapped car of Team GBR.
They're still running down in 16th place. Danny Watts has been running at the pace of the front runners. That last lap, very much slower. We're not quite certain as to why.
Interesting, New Zealand. Now, it's a good stop by New Zealand, but we don't really know how good it was until we see the likes of South Africa, Australia and Brazil make their stops, because those were the guys that he was behind and we're waiting for them to come in. They've gone a little deeper into the race. There's France making their second stop. Poor old Loic Duvalli's been one of the quickest guys out there, but that's what you get, a puncture and an extra pit stop, you're out of the game. There's second place man, Portugal, Filipe Albuquerque, and it looks as though they're getting ready for their stop.
Yes, and they've lost over a second on the last couple of laps. The gap between Ireland leading there, we look into the Ireland garage, and they're under no rush whatsoever to get Adam Carroll in. He's got France ahead, but that will be France having to concede track position to let the Irish car get through. 6.8 seconds, those huge boots going on to Team Portugal will give them a boost on the initial first 2 or 3 laps. Once then the tyre stabilises, the pace of the two cars, Ireland and Portugal, will again return to where they've been.
Got potential for more changes coming up because South Africa and Australia have just come into the pits. There you go. South Africa led Australia in. God, look at Australia. They're so fast on their pit stops and they're going to get Australia out ahead of South Africa. Australia have done it again. They are absolutely brilliant on the stops.
Yeah, and South Africa have been bearing down on Marco Andretti and Team USA and has lost that position to Australia. That'll be a frustration for Adrian Zaug.
So away goes John Martin. Now where's New Zealand? There's USA. Yes. So John Martin behind.
New Zealand coming here. So it's 4 cars all running in comparable pace and battling for position.
So with 12 laps to go, and there might be a few changes still there. Earl Bamber trying to close up now to the back of Adrian Zaug for South Africa, who lost out to the quick pit work of Team Australia.
Ireland coming in this lap. It's a good entry. Careful, slow down that corner. That's a tight corner. There's not a lot of width in the pit lane at that particular point. Hard as you can drive the car, then get the speed off. There's the line. In fact, in Chengdu, Ireland felt that Adam Carroll's in lap was fractionally slower than Portugal, and I think that's where they possibly lost the chance of a victory in the feature race.
Well, they've got a 6-second advantage this time, so in a way he doesn't need to run it to the limit. They've got a new set of tyres as well, so this should help. Another quick one. Away
I don't know where they actually stopped the clock. The car's rolling considerably, but same we saw that just a few moments ago in Ireland, showing 10.8.
Portugal in as well from second place there, but he'll see Adam Carroll rolling down the pit lane. Filipe Albuquerque will know he's got a new set of tyres as well, but it's going to be hard to close up that gap. Quick stuff from them as well, but really no change between the top two.
It's visual and it's hard to judge what that is. It's going to be certainly around the 5 to 6 second range.
So he rejoins. He's got a car, the Netherlands car. That can be tricky in a way because the Dutch car is going quite quickly, but it's out of position effectively after that drive-through penalty earlier.
Yeah, they've still got to make their second round of pit stops for tyres, as we see Clivio Piccioni in the pit lane.
Yes, indeed. He's just coming in for team. Well, actually, no, he had that problem earlier, didn't he? Monaco. I think he's coming back out, isn't he? So first time we've seen him for a long time. Brazil, meanwhile, that's fairly important for Brazil because they're in that other group. Yeah, Brazil's been passed by New Zealand there.
Yeah. Oh, and did he cross the line? Not Monaco, of course, running down in 17th and last position, and that would have been a frustration because he would have had to wait until he passed the pit lane line exit before he could attempt to pass the Monaco car.
Yeah, and Monaco going very steadily as he waits for the other cars to get past him. Now they're watching with Jeroen Blekemolen, and I think he's done pretty well here because he's now made, we're waiting for an extra pit stop, of course. He's made a drive-through penalty, so we're waiting for him to come in.
Yeah,
so that will drop him back down again.
But what is interesting to the fans here in Malaysia was the
Danny Watt's being pushed away,
He's been
John.
pushed away indeed. France now got the fastest single lap. Malaysia did a stunning lap as well, 1:49.7. That's now been eclipsed by France, a 49.033. Loic Duval, he may be running in 15th place. He wants that 1 point for fastest lap.
So all over for Team GBR, and no points have been scored here at Sepang this year by the British team, and that's going to be a huge dent to their hopes for the series. Meanwhile, Marco Andretti still going well for Team USA, still running effectively in third, although we're waiting for a couple more to make their second pit stops, and then for the timing to reset itself. But look, Andretti's not got away from John Martin, has he?
No, but more critically, the gap between Ireland and Portugal has just about doubled. It's up to 10.2 seconds.
Right, so that stop was quicker from the Team Ireland, and Portugal did lose out a little bit.
I think it was more. There's a 2 minutes 21.5 was the lap in and back out again. 22.24. So 3 seconds between coming in, the pit stop, and going back out have been lost by Portugal.
Netherlands have made their third stop of the day, of course their second compulsory stop, but they had the drive-through penalty earlier for contact with India at the beginning of the race. So now where does he rejoin? He's going to come back out behind the likes of China and Italy, but ahead of Lebanon. So that means that the Netherlands is now going to be running, I think, in 11th place. A little battle here. Malaysia trying to go around the outside of Lebanon. This is for position as Faraz Fawzi desperately trying to make up for that mistake earlier.
And Daniel Morandi gets so wide. Now Faraz Fawzi got tagged by South Africa in turn 2, but watch this down the hill. He's going to be close enough to get a run on the Lebanese car as they come up into turn 4. Lebanon will defend to the right. He can only do that once. Faraz Fawzi goes to the left, better line to break, but can Lebanon get the car slowed down?
Oh, he does just. Thought he was going to go off in trying to, but he does stay in front. Great dice. Fawzi now going to try on the outside, but Lebanon has the line through turns 5 and 6.
Right now there's battle going on further down the field, but Ireland currently still well ahead, 10 seconds. Fastest sector in first and second. They want that additional point for fastest in the third sector. Remember, they, like Portugal, are on a brand new set of tires. 1:48.563, new fastest race lap to Ireland.
Yeah, great lap, and that's a similar pace to what Switzerland did in the sprint race, isn't it? So very fast time there from Team Ireland. Meanwhile, the Malaysian crew, who were sitting pretty in third earlier in this race until Faraz made that bizarre decision, as I say, maybe a miscommunication, to come into the pits. No one knew why he was there, and now he finds himself fighting for 12th place, way outside the points. So there's a little bit of quiet amongst the fans. They're not quite sure what to make of it. They want him to get past, but he hasn't been able to do so as yet. Daniel Morad doing a good job. So up front, it's still Ireland, Portugal, USA third, Australia fourth, then South Africa and New Zealand, although we're still waiting for Indonesia to make their next stop. And into the final turn to complete another lap. Here comes Lebanon versus Malaysia. Fans want to see Fawzi take this place.
Faraz Fawzi on power boost. Look at the pace, look at the difference in speed as they come down into turn 1. Can he get far? No, easily, no problem at all. And Daniel Morad again late on the brakes. Car swirls around on those brakes into turn 1. But that was an example of how to use power boost and get the run off the corner. Engage the power boost, pick up the draft, and just rush past that car.
So that brings him up into 12th place. Take another look at this.
Copybook stuff. I mean, it was a late pull out. I mean, he almost overran the back of the Lebanese car, but almost wasn't the same as doing it.
Power boost working to good effect once again. You can really see, look how close he gets to the back of the Lebanon car.
Again, a good exit out of turn 15. Pick up the slipstream, engaging power boost. Not as close as it looked from the head shot into turn 1. Lebanon were prepared to fight for the position, but ultimately they pass was done before really you committed to entering the corner.
So some celebration in the pistons and drum bases as well, because they knew what they could have had here when he was sitting in third position. Now Australia sitting in what is effectively fourth place, with behind them South Africa and New Zealand. Still little to choose between these guys, and there's the power boost they've still got available.
Yes, South Africa showed to be only a second behind as they went across the line from the last lap, and certainly I would say a little bit more than that. But look behind Earl Bamber, he fancies a bit of that sixth place that South Africa are currently holding.
Yeah, it's going to be tough though, because South Africa does have 6 power boosts available, whereas New Zealand only has 2. So if Earl gets close enough, all Adrian has to do is bang the button.
Yeah, but I wonder why they haven't used it maybe a little bit earlier in other circumstances where it may have been to their advantage. But keeping back 6 power boosts doesn't mean you're going to have another 6 when you go to the next race in New Zealand. You're still only going to have 8 in the feature race. So if they're there and you can make up positions, think about using it.
That's right, maybe Adrian hasn't felt he's been close enough to do that, but we've got top 3 still. Ireland now with a 10-second advantage with 8 laps to go in this race. Portugal in second position. USA, Marco Andretti running third, some 24 seconds off the lead, but still up there with a possible podium finish. You're riding back on board with South Africa, watching the New Zealand car behind. And just up ahead of them there is John Martin for Australia. Could be some very useful points for the Aussies here. And John Martin's been going well in the feature races this year. He was 4th at Zandvoort in the feature race, 6th last time out in Chengdu. So although the sprint races haven't really gone according to plan for Australia, they have done a very solid job in the feature races, and I have to say a good proportion of that is down to the absolutely brilliant pit stops that the Allen Docking crew have performed for John. He's delivered in the cockpit as well, but he's certainly gained some of those places thanks to fast pit work. The Irish have been almost as quick themselves, and you know, John, it took Ireland a long time to get to win their first race. You know, they've been one of the top teams for such a long time. Now, suddenly, it's starting to look quite easy.
It never is easy, but doing a good job, you get the reward. If Ireland go on and win this race, and we've got 7 laps to go, and I don't know if the commentator's curse on Team Ireland, they will come away with 43 points comfortably in the lead. The Portugal, I reckon, should be in second place on 35 points.
So a big advantage, and Adam Carroll, after a victory in Chengdu, you remember that disastrous Zandvoort race they had? Poor chap, he spun it on the start of the sprint race, it all went wrong in the feature race. Well, he's certainly turned it round since then.
Yes, I mean, those are errors that are just happen from time to time a weekend when the momentum doesn't go with you, but that was certainly put to rights in Chengdu. And again, 7 laps to go, anything can happen. Never think this race is over until the flag's out.
The Dutch are back in the points, in fact 2 points now, because he just got past Italy's Edoardo Piscopo, and this is how he did it, coming down to the final turn.
Well, Edoardo Piscopo must have gone very, very wide. I mean, what does he think he's doing? I mean, almost as if he didn't even know. I mean, he probably did know, but why make it so easy? Because the Netherlands car really wasn't in that position. You could have made it more difficult if you wished to.
He outplayed himself a little bit or something, but certainly Jeroen Bleekemolen will say thanks for that. I'm through here, and he's now 9th, but he's some 3.5 seconds.
That was a bit of a gift to Jeroen Bleekemolen, I think.
Yeah.
Whether it was out braking or just not paying enough attention to the overall situation.
So we could be into a situation. That's how hot it is when you're not in a car.
Well, AJ's, I mean, he's struggling with the heat, and he's actually sitting on eggshells thinking about 4th place and all the points that are going to go with it. This is going to be one of the strongest showings we have seen from Team Australia in a long time. John Martin looks very good on the exit of turn 14. Another occasion we've seen him dirt track the car out of that particular corner. He's still got that gap of 1.1 seconds with New Zealand bearing down also, so it's not over.
A faster package, but whether he can get past is another question.
I think John Martin is sort of escaping this 4th place. It's now going to focus on 5th between New Zealand and South Africa, and I think the focus for Adrian Zargan, the South Africa car, is now to defend rather than attack.
Yeah, he's got his mirrors full. 6 laps to go, so as long as he can maintain his concentration, as long as the fitness levels are there, he shouldn't have too much problem. David Sears, who looks after engineering for the New Zealand team, wondering how his youngster Earl Bamber is getting on, how he's feeling. I wonder if he's beginning to feel the heat and the humidity and the fatigue setting in yet. He looks pretty fit though, and he's He's actually doing quite a lot of racing in Asia, so he's used to these conditions. Just watching the Brazilian car, that's now running 7th and China in 8th.
And running at good pace as well. Philippe Gomara is running in the high 150s, similar pace to New Zealand just ahead. And well, China's going to keep Philippe Gomara, as you can see just how close. Hu Pingtung once again with the Netherlands coming up behind China. So this race, not necessarily at the very front, but mid positions, and the final point scoring position is still up for grabs.
Again, Earl Bamber just overruns into turn 9 a little bit in his attempts to harry Adrian Zhao, try and put a bit of pressure on him. Zhao just a wheel over the curb, but nothing too dramatic.
Team GBR had a 9-minute and 55-second pit stop, but they've come back out on the track, so they're going to continue the process. 6 laps done.
So South Africa just protecting their position. You've got Australia, South Africa and New Zealand, some of the top rugby nations in the world, who've been performing pretty well around the world, of course, in recent weeks. And now here they are, all racing together on track for 4th
brake
place.
Dust. Look at the brake dust coming out of Adrian Zhao. You can see them, the plumes of carbon dust coming from the front wheels as he brakes into turn 15.
Yeah, it was. And as we get into the latter stages, of course, areas such as brake wear could be a factor. And Adrian might be sort of nursing a car that is not at its 100% best. We'll just have to wait and see. Earl Bamber again closes up.
Further down the field with China pushing Brazil. Again, this is a battle for 7th position that is by no means concluded.
No, that's right. Good to see China in the points. And we mentioned Brazil. In fact, this would be their first points of the season if Guimarães stays where he is right now, holding on to 7th place, the youngster. And when you bear in mind, John, how he did look a bit shaken, and fair enough to him after that accident in the sprint race, he's come back well here.
Well, he's carries on his helmet the sign "Jesus loves you." Now he has a great deep faith, and I think some of that faith will be called upon here today to guide him through what was a difficult start to Sunday, but now the bonus of getting some points before the end of this feature race.
Just to remind you, he's only 17 years old, is Philippe Guimarães. A real youngster, a bit of a baby face, but he's delivering so far here in the heat and humidity. At least he's a bit more used to the high temperatures than some of the other racers out there. This is the battle between Lebanon and Indonesia. Sadly, it's turned into a bit of a disappointing feature race for Lebanon. Daniel Morad, who started in 3rd place.
I think had he been a little bit less aggressive with Team GBR at the beginning, the first, second or third lap into turn 7 and 8, just control himself. If GBR was coming through, just let them go through, because you've got the advantage of being at the front of the field. If you can maintain that, then it makes your race so much easier. But right now, Adrian Zhao under pressure again. Watch for the plumes of carbon dust and the defence from the South Africa car.
They were both on power boost, but that means that New Zealand is getting low on them.
Switchback possible? No.
But who's on power boost? Is either of them? Yes, South Africa's on it, but I'm not sure. Yes, I think New Zealand's got its last go.
Yes, it is. So this is the last gasp. 4 laps to go. New Zealand have no more power boost left, and he can do nothing.
Now they've got to get the braking right. Easy to overshoot the corner when you use the power boost. Of course, you've got to adjust your braking reference a little bit, but they both deal with that quite efficiently, and there's no advantage there for Earl Bamber.
So are we going to see USA's on power boost for no particular reason? I can't see why. They're 27 seconds behind Portugal, but 4.3 seconds ahead of Australia. New Zealand with nothing left and nothing gained on the run up into turn 4. South Africa still in control, but under severe pressure.
Marco Andretti's managed to just ease away a bit from Australia, hasn't he, after that second round of pit stops. There's the gap now up to 4 seconds between himself and John Martin, and he's driven a pretty solid race here, Marco Andretti, I have to say. But we're just keeping an eye on this race for 5th between South Africa and New Zealand. Behind them, it's a 2.5 second gap back to Brazil. You can see Brazil and China in the background.
Yeah, what's a great shame. Great Britain again doing fastest personal laps, 1:49.1 on power boost. Just imagine where Great Britain would have been if Marad and Danny Watts hadn't had that incident up at Surnsum. Again, brake. Look at the carbon dust coming from the front brakes of the South Africa car. I don't know how long Adrian Zhao can continue to hammer the brakes as he's doing, but he has to do something to keep New Zealand behind.
Carbon brakes on these cars this year, as opposed to the cast iron, the steel brakes that we had last year on the older car. But certainly there's a fair bit of wear on the car of Team South Africa at the moment. USA just flashing through the picture there. Then it's Australia running 4th. South Africa in 5th place. Again, the brake dust. You see it in the heavy braking areas, and that, of course, is one of the key braking areas down into turn 15, the final corner on the track. They cross the line. There are 3 laps to go. Ireland with a very comfortable 13 second lead. And Portugal still sitting strongly in second place with their own advantage of some 29 seconds over USA. So the top three are really quite spaced apart. It's this battling group behind, but South Africa, New Zealand, with Brazil not far behind and Australia not that far ahead. South Africa certainly managing to derive something out of this weekend, because they seem to struggle. In fact, Earl Bamber's dropped back a bit there on that. Not quite sure what happened there on that last section.
And if South Africa's having a lot of brake dust coming out, I suspect also Earl Bamber's used the brakes to the full limit of the car. But this driver and car combination, Ireland, running remorselessly, 147.876. Portugal just nicking a couple of tenths back, but they're 13.3 seconds behind Ireland. It's been metronomic today, the Team Ireland performance. Adam Carroll absolutely on dazzling form.
Absolutely right, John. Yes, a man who has never had much budget behind him, but now finds himself in a situation he doesn't have to worry about the money. He can focus on the driving. Team Ireland have put their faith in him, and that has made a massive difference. Don't forget, he used to give a certain Nelsinho Piquet a pretty hard time in the British Formula 3 Championship, only just narrowly lost out to him in the title battle.
Yes, and of course you imagine the budget that Nelson Piquet had. I mean, astronomical, and all the testing that he had. But of course, Adam Carroll, and with the support of Dublin businessman John Sweeney for so many years, kept Adam just about in the frame. But it was Team Ireland that chose Adam Carroll, gave him the opportunity and the consistency, as well as the belief that he can go out and win on a regular basis.
2 laps to go now, and Marco Andretti as well. What a great run this has been from the 21-year-old from Nazareth, Pennsylvania, of course, the home of the Andretti family. His dad runs the team. This is Andretti Green Racing making their introduction to A1GP. First time out was in China 2 weeks ago, and what a result is in prospect here for USA. A podium finish. Well, they've had a victory, of course, as a team in A1GP, but not as Andretti Green. Malaysia trying to get past Italy here. Oh, squeezing alongside.
It's interlocking wheels.
Absolutely, and getting sideways on the exit. Might get it now. Just
has he got it now? You thought he had, but in fact, because Italy are on the inside and now Malaysia, I mean, they're giving each other room just about. Italy on the inside up into turn 4. Not an awful lot Faros Fauci's going to be able to do here, but he can switch back. Now he's got it.
Oh, great, and it's for the final point. That is for 1 point after the dramas that they've suffered as well. Malaysia will at least get a point out of it, because he's just fought his way past Italy.
Well, a superb bit of driving between two drivers fighting for the final point here this afternoon. Some people would say, well, why bother make the effort? Well, that's why these guys are here, because they fight for every opportunity and point that's available. Just too much by Italy. But even look, watch Faros Fauci, almost was prepared to throw it away.
Yeah, he was pretty wide, wasn't he, on the exit of the corner, puts the wheel right over the curb, and round he comes. So we're on to the final lap now. That was a well-timed manoeuvre from Faros Fauci. He's not going to gain much more than that, but it's Team Ireland that is leading the way, an advantage of 14 seconds. That's an amazing advantage. Yes, he qualified brilliantly, and also some of his main rivals here today didn't have much luck in the feature race, most notably Switzerland, who had to start from the back and then spun out in the early stages. Team France, who started 9th and got a puncture early on, had to have an extra pit stop. Great Britain, fellow front row sitter, poor start by Danny Watts, then a broken front wing. So Ireland have had the advantage, but they have made the most of it in every possible way, and Adam Carroll is just now cruising his way around this Sepang circuit.
I mean, this has been a copybook performance from the entire Team Ireland effort. Adam Carroll never putting wheel up, just indulging a little bit of oversteer, a little bit of use of the 600 horsepower available to the A1GP car. Comes up for the last time on a racing lap into 14. Just again accelerates out. That's the car move. He likes a car that moves around him. He's not one of those drivers that wants the ultimate precision. As long as he's got a balance, he's going to win races.
It took a long time for Ireland to take their first ever win in A1GP. That was at season 3 in Mexico. But it has not taken very long at all for them to take their 3rd win. They become the first repeat winners of season 4. Team Ireland takes the win in Sepang in Malaysia. Adam Carroll absolutely delighted with the feature race win here. He takes the 15 points maximum. What a result for the team. There's Niall Quinn in the middle there as well, the rookie driver. Portugal coming home in second place, some 15 seconds behind.
A reverse of what we saw in Chengdu, but a really dominant performance by Team Ireland, Adam Carroll. I mean, I think that's one of the finest races I've ever seen Adam Carroll compete in.
So waiting now for third place, and it's going to be Team USA, and it's going to be Marco Andretti. What a great result this is in only his third ever A1GP race. Well, his fourth race, I suppose. He did 2 races in Chengdu, but he didn't get started in the race here today, so really it's his third race. USA takes third place. Marco Andretti takes his first ever podium in A1GP. It's the first podium for Andretti Green Racing. Australia an excellent fourth from South Africa. New Zealand 6th, and it's Brazil who just takes 7th. The Netherlands took 8th on the last lap. So Jeroen Bleekemolen got past China on the last lap, and Malaysia takes the final point for Faraz Fawzi. What happened earlier? We still don't really understand why he came into the pits when he was running in a solid third place. But whatever, he has managed to come back and score the final point. And Malaysia may not be leading the championship anymore, but they will still be up there in the points. But Ireland have delivered, there's no doubt about that. They are the new series leaders. Team Ireland go into the New Year break with control in the A1GP series, and that will mean so much to this passionate nation for whom motor racing means so much, for Adam Carroll as well, who has delivered after the disasters of Zandvoort, where they scored absolutely nothing, despite being one of the teams to get their car early, to get some testing. They went into Zandvoort as one of the favourites and qualified up front, and then from then on, it all was, as I say, a little bit of a disaster. And he's come back so strongly since then, with victory and a second place in Chengdu, and then a win here in the feature race to back up a solid finish in the sprint race earlier on today. He finished in 5th in the sprint race today, and really that is a tremendous sort of combination of results, particularly bearing in mind the new qualifying system where the guys can use power boost for just the one session. You are now going to get some pretty mixed up grids. Philippe Albuquerque, an excellent second place for the Portuguese team, and they are also proving to be a major factor in terms of the championship this season. Portugal now sharing the engineering services of Switzerland as well, Bur Services, and Marco Andretti, the 21-year-old, finishing in a fine third place, a man who's more experienced on the ovals, of course, in the IRL series in the United States, but has raced on many good road tracks as well. So there we are, the results from the feature race. It's Ireland the winners from Portugal and the United States. Australia, very useful points in 4th for John Martin ahead of South Africa and New Zealand after a race-long battle there. Brazil, their first points of the season for the 17-year-old Felipe Guimarães, and 8th place for the Netherlands, fighting back after a drive-through penalty, finishing ahead of China and host nation Malaysia. Italy just outside the points despite fighting hard, then Lebanon, Indonesia, France in trouble early on, so were Great Britain down there in 16th. Monaco had problems. India and Switzerland went out right at the start. So Adam Carroll already beginning to celebrate what was an absolutely mighty drive. Never in doubt from his point of view, and the crew backed him up ably with 2 very quick pit stops as well. Another team effort from the guys there at Team Ireland, and Philippe Albuquerque's out of his car. There's Marco Andretti. And what about that rebuild job then that the American crew did on that car? Remember the pictures of it flying through the air earlier? Team USA, when he rode over the back of the Indian car at the start of the sprint race. But Team USA got to work, and they've now delivered a fantastic result. Adam Carroll's going to see everybody at the Irish team there. Jerry Hughes, the race engineer, who's guiding them to such success with this new A1GP car powered by Ferrari, and Marco Andretti just making sure he refits the steering wheel and looking pretty calm and collected after a swelteringly hot race here in Malaysia. Yep, no problem at all for Marco. Third place, first podium to enjoy in the series, and he's got to go through the formalities for the first time. Scrutineering, go up to the podium, all that sort of stuff. And nice there to see Adrian Zaug just congratulating him on that. There's John Martin, best of the rest off the podium. A superb 4th place, and as we say, those points will mean a huge amount to Alan Jones and the Australian team. And there is Faraz Fawzi. Well, 10th in the end. We thought that he was going to be a possible podium finisher, But he came into the pits. It looked like some form of miscommunication, or maybe there was a problem on the car that cleared itself when he came in. Whatever it was, Farah's showed great pace today, but unfortunately hasn't been able to deliver with the points haul that he would have liked. And well, our very own Diana is down there with him. She's quick to try and find out what went on. So let's get it from the horse's mouth, as it were. Let's hear from Farah's Fauzi what went on in that race. Down to you, Diana.
Farouz, what happened? Obviously coming into the pit stop there's some confusion, but effectively you've probably thrown that one away.
I mean, just a little bit miscommunication. I mean, my radio is not working. All I heard is someone else's team radio say box, box. So I decided to box, and when I arrived, there's no one there. I mean, a bit of cock up really. But the pace of the car is easily on the top 3. I mean, I made a 3 pit stop in total, and it's a good recovery to finish the points. I think that's the important thing. At least we got some points this weekend. A bit disappointed in home race. There's potential to be finished on the podium, but I think the most important thing is everyone still have a strong mind, positive target. Especially we need to looking forward for the next round, which will be New Zealand in Taupo, New Zealand. So a bit disappointed, but.
Okay, Farouz, thanks very much. If you could give the crowd a big wave, there's a lot of people here to support you.
Farah's Fauzi, so it was a miscommunication. We guessed correctly, and he heard another team telling their driver to come into the pits, and there was another car actually coming in at that time, so whatever it was, he obviously heard their communications come in, and it wasn't his own team. So what a bitterly disappointing day, and that's really gonna grate when he wakes up tomorrow morning. He's gonna think, oh, what happened there? What went wrong? How did that happen? And such a shame. Look at this. This was the moment. Guys not prepared. They didn't realise he was going to be coming in. Alan Muggleston, his race engineer, getting on the radio saying, I don't know why you're here. Go on. And he did go straight away. Well, as he said, he fought his way back into the points, particularly with that just about last lap lunge to get past Italy. So he did get 10th place. And there's no doubt he's generated a huge amount of enthusiasm here today. Malaysia came in as series leaders. They don't go away as series leaders, but their heads hopefully still high and still very much in the hunt as we go into the second part of the A1GP season. But we're about to get the podium celebrations underway here at Sepang. And let's see Adam Carroll make his way out.
A huge smile on his face, and deservedly so. Another driver with a taste for the podium.
It's a double victory this season. Philippe Albuquerque, who's had a win, now picks up the second place here. Luis Vicente of Team Portugal looking very pleased with that indeed. And for the first time, Marco Andretti makes it onto the podium. The Andretti name on the podium in A1GP for the first time ever. So the presentations are about to be made now. And these guys look pretty fresh considering how hot it was out there. Well, how hot it still is out there too. And I should think that they'll be downing a few pints of water first of all, but they'll also be wanting to get into that champagne and celebrate what has been a hard day's work for Team USA in particular after the rebuild job that was necessary on Marco Andretti's car. That is a real testament to Andretti Green Racing for getting it back together, for the help from other teams as well. Let's not forget that Korea, amongst others, helped out on that rebuild process. Without their help, Marco Andretti would not be there now. So good to see that team spirit operating once again in A1GP. Second place trophy and the silver medal going to Philippe Albuquerque. And on the back of that victory in Chengdu last time out, Portugal really are putting themselves right in the hunt here in terms of the outright series. He was 4th in the sprint race today, 2nd in the feature race. So a very solid points haul from that young man, and they'll be looking forward to Taupo, I'm sure, with renewed enthusiasm. But the trophy to the winner and the gold medal being prepared there to Adam Carroll, of course. So we stay on 5 different winners now out of 6 races, because Adam has taken 2 wins this season, double the number of victories that Ireland have had previously, and a very special moment. Always feels good. It took such a long time coming, that first win in Mexico, but now they seem to be coming fast and furious. The anthem plays out, and well, those boys know how to celebrate, no doubt about that. There'll be some Irish boys having some fun tonight here in Malaysia. As Adam Carroll pops the cork on the champagne, the celebrations really can begin. I'm not sure Marco can get the cork out of his bottle as yet. He's having a bit of a problem. I'm sure he'll manage it in the end. And Philippe Albuquerque getting used to this feeling after enjoying the moment like this in Chengdu in China last time out as well. There we go, Marco's got his champagne cork popped. Oh no, it's broken at the top, so he'll have to wait to enjoy that a little bit later.